The North Vietnamese 1st Division attacks Allied outposts around Doc Ta, in the Central Highlands, an area that has been the scene of heavy fighting since the summer. Elements of the U.S. Army 4th Infantry Division, 1st Cavalry Division, and 173rd Airborne Brigade, reinforced by South Vietnamese troops, engage the enemy in difficult hilly terrain that is thickly covered with jungle. On November 19th, in the bloodiest action of the battle, elements of the 173rd Airborne Brigade are caught in a well-planned ambush at Hill 875. The enemy is largely destroyed or forced to withdraw by November 23, after weeks of costly fighting. Several North Vietnamese regiments meant to be part of the North's upcoming Tet Offensive are decimated. The Battle of Doc Ta is the largest and costliest engagement in the Central Highlands since 1965. PFC, John Barnes. On November 12, 1967, John Barnes manned a machine gun after its crew had been killed. He then eliminated 9 enemy soldiers who were assaulting his position. While retrieving more ammo, Barnes saw a grenade tossed among a group of severely wounded soldiers. In an instant, he leapt on the device, shielding the blast with his body. PFC, Carlos Lozada. On November 20, 1967, Carlos Lozada stayed behind and poured deadly machine gun fire on an advancing NVA force, allowing his company to safely withdraw. Nearly surrounded, Lozada jumped from his covered position and fired his M60 from the hip, providing further cover for fellow soldiers when he was mortally wounded. Major Charles J. Waters Chaplain. On November 19, 1967, Chaplain Waters repeatedly exposed himself to enemy fire in order to aid fallen men outside the perimeter. 5 times troopers tried to hold him back, yet Waters persisted in aiding and carrying the wounded back to safety. He was hit and killed later, still tending to the wounded. Dawn on Tuesday, November 21st, revealed a scene on Hill 875 no survivor of that battle could ever forget, Edward F. Murphy wrote in Doc Ta, America's Sky Soldiers in South Vietnam's Central Highlands. The enormous amounts of ordnance expended by both forces had turned the once lush tropical jungle into a scarred and torn landscape. Abandoned weapons, helmets, rucksacks, clothing, canteens and empty ration containers littered the battlefield. The acrid odor of decaying and rotting flesh combined with the smells of vomit, feces, urine, blood, gunpowder and napalm etched itself permanently into the memories of those who were on Hill 875. Murphy wrote, "The U.S. Army paid a high price. 376 U.S. troops had been killed or listed as missing, presumed dead, and another 1,441 were wounded in the fighting around Doc Ta.